My name is Imran. In the previous video we learned what is Webpack and why it is used for, and in this video you're going to learn how to set up Webpack for your project, how to install it and things like that. Okay, I have written a blog for this as well, so if you want to go through the blog you can get all of the codes over here. I will also be putting the code on the GitHub, so you can take it from there as well. The link for that will be in the description box of the video and for the blog as well. Okay, so what are the things that we require to go ahead and set up the Webpack? Well, first thing, you need Node.js. If you haven't already installed Node.js, then you can just go on to Node.js and just download and use it. Okay, and npm comes pre-installed with Node.js, so that's the Node package manager which allows you to manage the packages. Okay, alright, and so let's begin with the installation. So what I'm gonna do is just cancel this, let's clear it. I'll just open my terminal fresh. Let's just wait for it to open. Okay, we'll create a directory called Webpack app. So mkdir Webpack app. It already exists. Okay, let me just remove that. Okay, let's create one. Webpack app, and then let's go into that directory, Webpack app. Currently it's empty. Okay, so inside of this directory let's do npm init and pass a y flag. What this does is this basically skips all the questioning and creates a package.json file for yourself. You can see the name of this application is Webpack app, version is this, description is nothing, main file is index.js and all of that stuff. Okay, so if you now check, we have a package.json file. We can also open this project into PHP Storm, so you can see currently we only have the package.json file. Okay, next thing we need to do is install Webpack. So let's clear it. We'll use npm to install Webpack. So npm I is short form for install, and -d allows it to save it as dependency in our package.json. So we need to install Webpack, then babel/core babel-loader and Webpack CLI and path. You can just copy this from here if you want. Okay, and let's just install it. So let's understand what each one of these is. Okay, so if you check babel-loader, what does it do? So babel-loader basically allows to transpile the JavaScript files using Babel and Webpack. So we know that not all the browsers understand ES6. So if you go to can I use and if you check ES6, because if you're writing code in ES6, not all browsers support it currently. Eventually they should, but for now they aren't. So you can see that currently IE doesn't support. Chrome does, Safari does. Okay, so in order for us to provide support for the ES6, which means that it's going to convert ES6 into ES5 so that all browsers can render it properly. That's why we use the babel-loader. Okay, and then you have the Webpack CLI package that we've installed. So it's the command line interface for Webpack, which allows us to set up Webpack very easily. It provides us with a lot of commands. Okay, so I think by now all of these packages are installed. Let's continue further. Okay, so you can see it has installed all of the packages and its dependencies in the node module directory. It has also created a package.lock.json file as well. Okay, and it has installed Babel core, babel-loader, path, Webpack, and Webpack CLI. Okay, so all of these have been installed. Now let's create a file called index dot, let's make it index.html. index.html. Okay, and let's create a directory called source, inside of which we'll create a file called index.js, and this is where we will keep all of our codes for JavaScript. Okay, and let's include this JavaScript file. Source. In fact, let's not include just yet. Okay. Okay, I've moved the Webpack-app directory into my htdocs, so I can open it. And let's just open it using localhost. Webpack app. Currently, I don't have anything in the file, so let's just write something here. Like h1. This is Webpack demo. Okay, great. So we'll write all of our codes into the index.js file, which exists in source directory, and whatever we write over here, let's say we define a function, let's say display, okay, I'll just zoom it in, display name, and I'm using the ES6 arrow function, guys. Okay, and let's console log mrun and just call this function display name. Okay, great. Now, okay, so basically this is our directory structure. We have source, we have package.json, we have index.html, I think, not PHP. Okay, and we've written some code. Okay, now what we're going to do is basically write a configuration file for Webpack. Even if you don't make a configuration file for Webpack, Webpack uses its default configuration. Okay, but it's best to create one. Okay, so the name of the file will be webpack.config.js, and we need to put that in the root of your project. Okay, let me just copy the code to save time. Okay, so let's say what's going on over here. So we had installed path, right? So what does this path do? This path is used for handling and transforming the file paths. Okay, in Node. Now over here we've set up a context, right? So if you go on to the blog, I've explained all of this. Okay, so context allows entry to take the root path you have defined in the context property. In this case, it's a directory name. So basically, this is the path till the root of your project. Okay, entry point, we are telling Webpack which file you need to take as an entry, and where do you need to output it as a bundled file. Okay, so entry is where we define the path. So we are telling Webpack to take index.js, which is inside of the source directory, and output all of the code, the bundled file, into main.js, which is inside of the dist directory. So we are setting up a path over here, which is up until the dist directory, and then file name is main.js. Okay, and then you have the modules. You need to set some rules for the babel-loader. Okay, so we add the rules in the module object, which ensures whenever it finds a JavaScript file, it will use the babel-loader to convert it into ES5. Okay, as I've already explained earlier, that it does that so that we can provide support for all the browsers, as all browsers don't understand ES6 as of now. Okay, great. So this is basically the configuration file for your Webpack. Okay, now if you go to package.json, okay, this is where we have got all of the dependencies. So let's try to run Webpack, okay, and see how it goes. Okay, so I'll run Webpack. So all you have to do is just run Webpack command. Okay, mode has not been set. Okay, right, so you can see what this has done is basically this has taken all the codes from index.js and it has gone ahead and dumped it out into main.js, so given you a bundled file. Okay, and it has minified this file basically, so because I have not set up any flags like production or development environments. You will see that in a moment. Okay, so if I now search console, you can see it's somewhere here, console Imran, right? All of the rest of the codes are coming by Webpack. Okay, and now if I go back and check, refresh the page, do inspect element, let's see. Yes, why it's not showing is because we need to include this main.js file, the bundled one, right? So let's go to our index.html and just include this script at the bottom. Script source, it's inside of the dist directory, and then main.js. Okay, let's refresh, and sure enough you can see it's consoling over here, console logging here, says Imran. Okay, so which means this file is being applied. If you check the page source, you click on main.js, you can see that this file is being applied here. Okay, now there are a few things. You can actually put this script over here, because every time you go ahead and make changes, you have to run this Webpack command every now and then. So to avoid that, so that Webpack watches everything, what you can do is you can create a script like this. In fact, basically this is the command. Okay, and if we go to our package.json file into our script, let's get rid of this. Let's make a short command for this. Let's say dev. Whenever a dev is run, which means when you run npm run dev, then please execute this command, which is Webpack. When you pass -- watch along with this, Webpack will keep watching for any changes, so you don't have to run Webpack every time you make a change. It will automatically watch the change and execute it. Okay, and then you pass this flag mode development. Okay, so dev will be for development mode. What this does is this will not create a minified file like this, the way it's created by default, okay, in the development environment. So just for your understanding. Okay, and then in build we can name the second, you can name it whatever you like, but the best practice is to name it build for production environment, and then here you can get rid of this watch, put a comma here, and mode will be production. Okay, now let's go back, clear it, and run npm run, and remember when we run dev, then it's actually running Webpack and with the watch flag and development mode. Okay, so you can see it's going ahead and using entry point main.js. okay, sorry, entry point, it's using index.js and converting into a bundle file main.js. And now if you go ahead and check, this is no longer minified, and this is where it's consoling log. Okay, you don't need to worry about all of this. This code is rendered by is displayed by the Webpack itself. Okay, so even if you delete it and if you make some changes here, make it unsave it, save it, and let's see. So see, Webpack has already again created a main.js file which I had just deleted, right? If you go back and check, refresh, and sure enough you can see Imran say this being displayed over here. So basically it allows you to take your entry point and bundle it and produce a main.js file which you can then include in your index.html. and you can use it for any of your projects. Okay, later on in the following videos I'll be showing you how you can create how you can use the Webpack dev server, because Webpack also provides you with the development server which you can use for development purposes. So I'll be explaining that to you in the following videos. Okay, but you can find information here about it. Right. So what it does is basically it gives you a port number where your project will be available that you can test. Next up is, if you have multiple files that you want to output separately and include in different pages, then what you can do is you can do a configuration in the Webpack config.js file and tell Webpack that please make separate bundle files. So for example, in source directory, if you create another JavaScript file, let's say about.js, and if you come back to Webpack config, earlier there was only one file. Okay, hence, okay, what's going on? Okay, earlier there was only one file, hence you had put this as a string, but now since there are two files, what we're going to do is we'll create an object, and the first one we name it as index and pass it like this, and the second one we name it as about. Okay, and over here let's put that in name. So what would happen is that the index will be outputted as index.js, and about will be outputted as about.js. Okay, so let's have a look. Great, awesome. So let's try this. We don't need the extra commas. Let's delete min.js and see how it goes. Let's write some codes in about.js. I'm just going to copy this, and let's say we'll say about, and this, and index, we'll say just index over here. Okay, and let's rerun npm run dev. Let's see what happens. Okay, so if you see that it has taken the entry point index.js from the source, okay, and produce index.js, and it has taken about.js from the source directory and produce about.js inside of the dist directory. So it has included both of these files, and now you can go to, for example, let's say you had this index.html, and then if you had, let's say, about.php. Okay, so in this file, towards the end, script source, you can include the about.js. Sometimes you have multiple pages and you want to include multiple files, so you can do that way. And inside of this you can include the index.js. Let's try this. So here you have index, and then if I go to about.php, have the about being included, right? Great, guys. So in this tutorial we learned how to go ahead and set up Webpack for your project. Okay, so just to recap, what we did is basically if we didn't already have the Node.js installed, we install Node.js. If you had already, then no problem, you just proceed further, you create a project, or if you already have one, then you just do npm init yes to create a package.json file. If you already have one, then you can just put the configuration. Then you install Webpack, Babel core, babel-loader, Webpack CLI and path as your dependencies. Then you created your index file into the source directory, and index.html file as well, and whatever code you write over here, we tell Webpack that you need to output the bundle file into main.js into the dist directory, and take the entry point as index.js, and we set the rules as well for the babel-loader for that to convert ES6 into ES5, so that for the browser compatibility basically. And then we also learned how to go ahead and produce multiple files, multiple bundle file for our separate pages. Okay, if you have any questions, guys, you can leave the comments. In the upcoming videos you will learn how to use the dev server provided by Webpack for your development to test your project, rather than using MAMP or XAMPP, etc. Okay, so you learn that you won't need that MAMP. You can use the dev server because it gives you access to a certain port number that you can access your project at. Okay, and you will learn furthermore about how to go ahead and include the CSS files using loaders, because Webpack understands JavaScript, so we need loaders if we want to go ahead and include the CSS files. Okay, great, guys, take care, bye bye.